Hey y'all, this is Star Charger here, the Unicorn Goddess, coming to y'all on my channel Spoken Openly, and this is the 5th video in the series about the declassified CIA documents about astral travel, astral projection, out-of-body experiences, remote viewing, accessing the Akashic record, and other things related to it like meditation and stuff like that. So far, we are a third to halfway through the document, and we have already covered so many awesome, deep, wondrous subjects. And I'm so happy and excited to bring this information to y'all. Yeah, we're on page 9 of 29, so we're a third of the way through. If you haven't watched the other videos, you might want to go back and start at the beginning, because each subject builds on the other. And so far we've went through energy entrainment, binaural beats, meditation, syncing up your body with the earth's electrostatic field, all kinds of things. Now we're on and frequency and resonance. Now we're on energy entrainment. As the body is turned into a coherent oscillator, vibrating in harmony with the surrounding electrostatic medium, which is the Earth's electrostatic field, the specific exercises included in the gateway tapes enjoin the participant to build up the energy field surrounding his body, presumably by using energy from the Earth's field, which the body is now entraining because of its ability to resonate with it. This puts the body's energy field into homogeneity with its surrounding environment and promotes movement of the seat of consciousness into the surrounding environment, partly in response to the fact that the two electromagnetic medians are now a single energy continuum. Thus, the same process which moves the brain into focused coherence at steadily higher levels of frequency and amplitude so as to entrain analogous frequencies in the universe for data collection, also promotes enhancement of bodily energy levels to a point adequate to permit the subject to experience an out-of-body movement when he is ready to do so. More will be said about this topic later. In addition, by resonating with the Earth's electromagnetic sphere, the human body creates a surprisingly powerful carrier wave to assist the mind in communication activity with other human minds that are similarly tuned. So now it's saying, when you're in resonance with the Earth, your consciousness can travel out of your body all around the earth, because you've become sort of one entity or one system or circuit. Almost like if you have a house with solar power and the electricity is only going in that house. But then if you hook that house also to the power line, energy can be transferred back and forth between the house and the electric line. The electric line can feed the house if it's not making enough energy, or when the house is fully supplied and like the batteries and stuff are fully charged up and the house is making a lot of energy, the energy from the house can transfer into the main power grid. Hopefully that's a good illustration for y'all. All right. Number 11, consciousness and energy. Before our explanation can proceed any further, it is essential to define the mechanism by which the human mind exercises the function known as consciousness, and to describe the way in which that consciousness operates to deduce meaning from the stimuli which it receives. To do this, we will first consider the fundamental character of the material world in which we have our physical existence in order to accurately perceive the raw stuff with which our consciousness must work. The first point which needs to be made is that the two terms, matter and energy, tend to be misleading if taken to indicate two distinctly different states of existence in the physical world that we know it. Indeed, if the term matter is taken to mean solid substance as opposed to energy, which is understood to mean a force of some sort, then the use of the former is entirely misleading. Science now knows that both the electrons which spin in the energy field located around the nucleus of the atom and the nucleus itself are made up of nothing more than oscillating energy grids. Solid matter, in the strict construction of the term, simply does not exist. Rather, atomic structure is composed of oscillating energy grids surrounded by other oscillating energy grids, which orbit at extraordinarily high speeds. In his book, Stalking the Wild Pendulum, Itzhak Bentov gives the following figures. The energy grid, which composes the nucleus of the atom, vibrates at approximately 10 to the 22nd power hertz, which means the number 10 followed by 22 zeros. At 70 degrees Fahrenheit, an atom oscillates at the rate of 10 to the 15th power hertz. An entire molecule composed of a number of atoms bound together in a single energy field vibrates in the range of 10 to the 9th power hertz. A live human cell vibrates at approximately 10 to the 3rd power hertz. Wouldn't that be 10,000 hertz? The point to be made is that the entire human being, brain, consciousness, and all, is like the universe which surrounds him. Nothing more or less than an extraordinarily complex system of energy fields. The so-called states of matter are actually variances in the state of energy, and human consciousness is a function of the interaction of energy in two opposite states, motion versus rest, in a manner described in this following paragraph. Alright, y'all, it's getting really good. Number 12, holograms. Energy creates, stores, and retrieves, meaning in the universe, by projecting or expanding at certain frequencies in a three-dimensional mode that creates a living pattern called a hologram. Energy creates, stores, and retrieves, meaning in the universe, by projecting or expanding at certain frequencies in a three-dimensional mode that creates a living pattern called a hologram. The concept of the hologram can be most easily understood by using an example cited by Bentov, in which he asks the reader to visualize a bowl full of water into which 3 pebbles are dropped. As the ripples created by the simultaneous entry of the 3 pebbles radiate outward toward the rim of the bowl, Bentov further asks the reader to visualize that the surface of the water is suddenly flash frozen so that the ripple pattern is preserved instantly. The ice is removed, leaving the 3 pebbles still laying at the bottom of the bowl. Then the ice is exposed to a powerful, coherent source of light, such as a laser. The result will be a three-dimensional model or representation of the position of the 3 pebbles suspended in midair. Holograms are capable of encoding so much detail that, for example, it is possible to take a holographic projection of a glass of swamp water and view it under magnification to see small organisms not available to the naked eye when the glass of water itself is examined. The whole concept of holography or holography, despite its scientific implications, has only been known to the physicists since the underlying mathematical principles were worked out by Dennis Gaber in 1947. He later won a Nobel Prize for his work. Laboratory demonstrations of Gaber's work only occurred years later, following invention of the laser. As biologist Lyle Watson explains, the purest kind of light available to us is that produced by a laser, which sends out a beam in which all the waves are of one frequency, like those made by an ideal pebble in a perfect pond. When two laser beams touch, they produce an interference pattern of light and dark ripples that can be recorded on a photographic plate. And if one of the beams, instead of coming directly from the laser, is reflected first off an object, such as a human face, the resulting pattern will be very complex indeed, but it can still be recorded. The record will be a hologram of the face. Number 13. The part encodes the whole. Of further importance is the fact that even if we dropped our frozen hologram of the ripple pattern onto the floor and broke it into a number of pieces, each individual piece would recreate the entire holographic image all by itself. The smaller the piece, the fuzzier and more distorted would be the resulting holographic projection, but the fact remains that a whole projection would nonetheless be made. The key to creating any hologram is that energy in motion must interact with energy in a state of rest, non-motion. In the foregoing example, the pebbles represent energy in motion, while the water, before its agitation by the pebbles, represents energy at a state of rest. To activate, or in effect, to perceive the meaning of a hologram, energy, in this case a coherent light source such as a laser beam, must be passed through the interference pattern generated by the interaction between the moving energy and the energy at rest. In the simple example given by Bentov, this requirement was fulfilled by holding the frozen interference pattern in front of the coherent light to project the three-dimensional holographic image, its meaning, into space. As Marilyn Ferguson, editor of the Brain Mind Bulletin, tells us, another feature of a hologram is its efficiency. Billions of bits of information can be stored in a tiny space. The pattern of the holographic photograph is stored everywhere on the plate. Number 14. The consciousness matrix. The universe is composed of interacting energy fields, some at rest and some in motion. It is, in and of itself, one gigantic hologram of unbelievable complexity. According to the theories of Carl Pribram, a neuroscientist at Stanford University, and David Bohm, a physicist at the University of London, the human mind is also a hologram, which attunes itself to the universal hologram by the medium of energy exchange, thereby deducing meaning and achieving the state which we call consciousness. With respect to states of expanded or altered consciousness, such as gateway uses, the process operates in the following way. As energy passes through various aspects of the universal hologram and is perceived by the electrostatic fields which comprise the human mind, the holographic images being conveyed are projected upon those electrostatic fields of the mind and are perceived or understood to the extent that the electrostatic field is operating at a frequency and amplitude that can harmonize with and therefore read the energy carrier wave pattern passing through it. Changes in the frequency and amplitude of the electrostatic field, which comprises the human mind, determines the configuration and hence the character of the holographic energy matrix, which the mind projects to intercept meaning directly from the holographic transmissions of the universe. Then, to make sense of what the holographic image is, quote, saying to it, the mind proceeds to compare the image just received with itself. Specifically, it does this by comparing the image received with that part of its own hologram which constitutes memory. By registering differences in geometric forms and in energy frequency, the consciousness perceives, and it says see Exhibit 2, next page, which I'll post for y'all. The consciousness perceives. As psychologist Keith Floyd puts it, contrary to what everyone knows is so, it may not be the brain that produces consciousness, but rather consciousness that creates the appearance of the brain. Now, my commentary on this. Y'all, this is fascinating because lots of ancient mystics say, you can get yourself into an expanded state of consciousness and you can access the Akashic records, which would be this holographic matrix of the universe that they're talking about. And then even such contemporary beings as Tesla and Einstein said certain things about accessing higher consciousness. For instance, I believe that it was Tesla who said he accesses information. He accesses a core of information, but he doesn't know where it is. But it basically downloads information and ideas into his brain. And that's what this is saying, that as energy passes from the matrix of the universe, let's say that it's passing through your body all the time, but you can't perceive all of it. But the certain levels of your consciousness, whatever level of consciousness you're on, you can perceive that level of energy from the hologram. And then your brain will be able to receive that packet of information. And then your brain will compare it to what you know and try to put it into a coherent or into a form that you can coherently decipher and understand. And that's why different people receive different ideas, different understandings, and then the energy will be deciphered in a way that you can decipher it. Like, let's say that you get a packet of information, you get a holographic piece of information from the universe, but you don't have anything in your conscious mind or your memory that you can compare it to. You might not fully understand it. You just get some images or some flashes. You have no idea what it is, but your brain will try to link it to things that you know of. So you might be receiving information on a very deep level, but your conscious mind can't comprehend it because it's like nothing that you know of on this earth. All right, number 15, brain in phase. The consciousness process is most easily envisaged if we picture the holographic input with a three-dimensional grid system superimposed over it, such that all of the energy patterns contained within can be described in terms of three-dimensional geometry using mathematics to reduce the data to two-dimensional form. Bentoff states that scientists suspect that the human mind operates on a simple binary go, no-go system, as do all digital computers. Therefore, once it superimposes a three-dimensional matrix over holographic information it wishes to interpret and reduces that information mathematically to two-dimensional form, it can completely process it using its fundamental binary system, just as any computer made by the hand of man can process volumes of data and make various comparisons between the data and information stored in its digital memory. Our minds operate in the same way, perceiving by comparison only. Bentoff states the proposition this way: our whole reality is constructed by constantly making such comparisons. Whenever we perceive something, we always perceive differences only. In states of expanded consciousness, the right hemisphere of the human brain, in its holistic, nonlinear, and nonverbal mode of functioning, acts as the primary matrix or receptor for this holographic input, while by operating in phase or coherence with the right brain, the left hemisphere provides the secondary matrix through its binary, computer-like method of functioning to screen further the data by comparison and reduce it to a discrete two-dimensional form. Number 16, evaluation. To the extent that Gateway succeeds in bringing about a refinement in energy matrix of the mind, it succeeds in expanding or altering human consciousness so that it can perceive without recourse to the intercession of the physical senses, such that ever more of the universal hologram, not of course accessible by sense perception, can ultimately be perceived and understood. Marilyn Ferguson has written that the theories of Fibram and Bohm appear to account for all transcendental experience, paranormal events, and even, quote, normal perceptual oddities. She goes on to say of Fibram, currently he is proposing a startling, all-encompassing model that is generating considerable excitement among those intrigued by the mysteries of human consciousness. His holographic model marries brain research to theoretical physics. It accounts for normal perception and simultaneously takes the paranormal and transcendental experiences out of the supernatural by explaining them as a part of nature. Like certain strange discoveries of quantum physics, the radical reorientation of this theory suddenly makes sense of paradoxical sayings of mystics throughout the ages. Ain't that what I've been telling y'all? I'm gonna start a new video. Again, I am having so much fun. It is so exciting for me to read through this information and share it with y'all. I am ecstatic and delighted to be able to share this with y'all and bring this information to my people, my lovely cosmic, etheric, mystical, magical, multidimensional unicorns. I appreciate y'all so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, any comments, you want to share your experiences, please comment down below. Please like and share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Please comment down below. Give me your feedback. I appreciate y'all so much. Much love to all my mystical, magical, wonderful, cosmic, multidimensional unicorns. And until the next time we meet, here is to your empowerment, your evolution, your enlightenment, and the expansion of your consciousness. Alright, y'all. Star Charger out.